This podcast may contain adult themes and triggering topics. Please be kind to yourself if you get triggered by what we discuss.
Also, this isn't a substitute for therapy or counseling. Please listen to the appendix at the end for some of our recommendations for resources that will help you find a qualified mental health care provider.
Now, we take you to a time in the near future where emotional abuse has been appropriately deemed a crime, and the survivors find a home to reclaim their lives and freedom. This is Haven, and these are the stories of the Reclaimers.
Hey, knock knock, Pheeny.
Percy, good to see you. With all the new intakes this last week, I feel like we haven't seen each other in months. When do you go on leave again?
Haha. Not for some time at least, and Addie insists I should wait until she's going into labor anyway.
Oh, Addie, she's such a trooper. Well, no matter what, take the full 6 months leave, okay? We can do this, and you're gonna need it. Sleep. Sleep is your new quest. Oh, hey, how's Sonia doing?
She's okay. She's actually part of the reason I wanted to find you.
Oh, what's up?
It's Truman.
Oh, yes, the witty guy. Intake from last week?
That's the one.
Wait, how did he get assigned to a junior like Sonia? The trial team was concerned about his ability to see that he'd been abused.
He tests really well. He's extremely bright, emotionally intelligent, and he's got years in the field.
Oh, was he a psychologist?
No, an addiction recovery coach.
Interesting. So what's the deal then?
Sonia was pretty reluctant to talk about it, but apparently Truman's been blocking her.
Like emotional block?
Yeah, she can't get a bond going with him. I have a guess as to why.
Why?
I think he's an undetected empath.
Really? Where's he from?
Not anywhere near Metro.
Got it. So he wouldn't have been detected anyway. Okay, but wouldn't his being an empath just help him bond?
That's what I thought. But she's right. There's a block.
What's your read?
I haven't read him at all.
Does he just decline to be read?
No, nothing like that. He's given consent. He just isn't readable. It's what makes me think he's an empath. He can block me and he doesn't even know he's doing it.
Well, we both know that of the two of us, you're more adept at interpreting what people are thinking.
And you're more adept at being a man.
Oh, no. You think he's a misogynist or something?
No, not at all. He's amazingly respectful. I just have this hunch.
Yeah, the last time I heard that, we were pitching a whole justice system reform to a lone senator.
Beanie. Not like you didn't want that whole job too. I mean, we are co-directors.
Ah, so you are at least aware that you don't run the place.
Sometimes, anyway. But seriously, and back to the point. I think Truman has some family background. Another undetected empath in the mix somewhere.
Like who?
No clue. That's why I wanted to ask you if you'd consult. Maybe we could work together with him at the next session. You can run point and I can read him, see if my hunch is right.
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
I'm meeting him this afternoon in the Arboretum. He's really relaxed when he's gardening.
I'll be there. But, Percy, ask him if it's okay first. No test subjects here.
Never, Captain.
You know that makes you my first officer, right?
Just meet us this afternoon and you can pretend to be in charge all you want.
Worst first officer ever. Hey, Truman. I'm Pheeny. Not sure if you remember, but we met the night of your intake.
I remember. You were the one with the paperwork. I was the one with the trauma bonds.
Nice.
Do you mind if we dig a little? I've got a sapling that's really working on breaking through.
I love that. Could I help?
Yeah, sure. And before you both ask, yes, you can read me. Use the empathy. Go for it.
Awesome. So, this one?
Yeah, just dig right there.
Truman, I'm not getting anything from you.
There's more soil over here if you need it.
No, your emotions.
Oh, yeah. Sonia seemed to have a hard time with that.
You could tell that?
Yeah, a little.
Do you know what an undetected empath is, Truman?
No?
Well, here in the metro area, primary school kids are tested to see if they have instances of heightened empathy receptors, or HERs. It's what gives someone the empathy insight or empathy power. Those who test with the receptors are known as detected.
Are you detected?
Yes.
Persy is, I can tell.
How do you know?
Just, I sense it.
Yeah, I am.
Will you hand me that trowel, please?
Yep.
Truman, I think you might be an undetected empath.
Someone who has heightened receptors but wasn't tested? That's a thing?
Yeah. Would you be willing to let Persy give you a little verification test? She's one of the few at the Haven who's certified to do the test officially.
Not sure I'd be comfortable with that.
But that's okay. You don't have to.
It's not that I don't want to, just that I'm uncomfortable with it, with that.
We really try to not make people do anything they don't want to do. If you don't want to, it's okay.
I don't mind being uncomfortable. I've done that my whole life.
What makes you say that?
I don't know.
Okay, we don't have to talk about that now. But would you like to share what makes you uncomfortable?
With Persy here?
I can leave you two to chat if you'd like.
I don't want you to feel unwelcome. Gosh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel so worried.
Do you see what you did there, Truman?
No, what?
You did what's called a surface read. You felt what I broadcasted.
I did?
Yeah, I didn't say I felt worried. But I definitely felt it, so broadcasted it a bit to see what you'd do.
Oh. I guess I've never realized that I've always been able to do that.
No matter what you've been told, it's a beautiful gift.
Especially when you can control the blocks around it.
Blocks?
Yeah, it takes some training, but even an undetected empath adult can develop the same blocks they teach the detected empath kids these days.
How does that work? Like, I can block other people from feeling what I'm feeling?
Yes. And you can also block their feelings from coming across to you. Most broadcasted emotion is blaming. I don't know how you've lived this long with that much broadcasted emotion swirling around you.
Me either.
I always thought I just had to, or that I was codependent or something, so I tried to hide it all.
It makes sense.
No one's ever confirmed it for me, though.
We both can confirm that you just did a surface read. If you'd like a deeper analysis, I can schedule you for a time with another certified advocate. Would you like that?
I think I'd be okay if you just did it now.
You feel more comfortable about it now?
No, but it's okay.
Do you want me to step out so you can share with Pheeny why you feel uncomfortable?
No, I did something, though. I think you're not going to like it, but I'd feel better telling you.
Whatever it is, I bet we've heard it before.
I don't think you've heard this one.
You can tell us, Truman. We can handle just about anything.
I read Persy at intake, more than surface stuff.
Really? I didn't know. Do you want to share what you found?
You're a telepath, like a real one. You can really read people's thoughts.
Wow. Yeah, how did you manage to read that?
I don't know, I just did. I can see the thoughts she's actively reading, like they're words or something.
Actively?
Well, yeah, she has to be reading the thoughts while I'm reading her.
And it doesn't work in any other case?
Well, no. Not that I've tried anyway. Sorry, Persy, to make you nervous again.
I'm just nervous about confidentiality. I protect a lot of information.
I know. And if it makes you feel safer, I couldn't go any deeper than that. I didn't want to go as deep as I did. I just couldn't help it. But now I'm scared that if you try to read me, you're going to give me more than you should. That fear you've got about that, it's palpable. I didn't want to do something that would make you feel afraid.
Truman, I don't think I've met anyone with quite as much integrity as that.
Is that integrity? I was just scared of knowing something I shouldn't.
Okay, there was a flash of something just now, Truman.
A flash?
It's what we call it when we sense an emotion.
Oh, there's nothing.
Do you mind if I push past your block?
I have a block? For real?
Yeah, it's well developed. There.
Oh, so that's what that is.
Yes. Will you let me try to get past your block? You can say no. I do think my training will allow me to control the confidential information. I'm confident I can.
How do you know you can?
Truman, I'm going to share something a little tricky. It's confidential to me. Something about me I'd like you to not share with others. The other person in this story is deceased now, so I feel comfortable sharing this with you, but it'll prove it to you that I can do this.
Okay.
I was assigned to a war crimes encampment during college, and I met a couple of other telepaths there.
Persephone? You never told me that.
I never told anyone. One man was sentenced to the encampment because his empathy gift allowed him to steal intel from the other side. With that intel, he caused a lot of suffering and death on our side. His grief. It was tormented and horrible. He didn't want to let me close for fear he'd force me to see everything he'd caused. But eventually he did. I saw his grief, and I saw that gift had been exploited by the commanders.
Persy, you got this?
Yeah, Phoenix, I promise I'm okay. We can do a session later if you're still concerned. Truman, it cost that telepath, that man, a lot to trust me. But if I can help him navigate that grief while keeping everything else confidential, I really think I can help you. I really think I can block the information well enough.
Your pain is really deep. Even with the block, I can still feel it.
Oh no, I'm really sorry, Truman. Pheeny, can you help me do an overlapping block really quick? Mm-hmm. Truman, we have an advocate code we're pretty devoted to, and part of it has to do with not overwhelming you with our emotions. It looks like your heightened empathy can sense a little more than surface, and that is a good thing. I just want to give you the ease of not having to experience every emotion in the room. I wouldn't have shared that story unless I thought it would help build trust. This is your time for healing.
Sonia has big emotions too. She felt really worried, then ashamed. I just wanted to help.
Thanks for your kind responses to her, Truman, and for letting us know. As you can imagine, she wants to be a good advocate, and she's still learning.
Promise you'll help her?
Yeah. Once we've confirmed this for you, I'll go straight there. Can I share what we talked about here just now?
Yes, and I think you should tell your story too.
I'll consider that for sure. Now, if you really are okay with me conducting your analysis, okay, I want you to close your eyes and reach out to find the calm wave I'm sending you. Can you feel that?
Yes, that feels really nice.
And I'm sending you a calming wave, Persy.
Thanks, old friend. Now, Truman, I want you to see the line right there between us. Can you visualize that?
Yep, got it.
Is it okay if I step over it?
Yes.
Okay. Give me a second while you and Pheeny talk about something else. I'm not going anywhere beyond this immediate space, okay?
Truman, do you know if there are other empaths in your family?
I don't think so.
Truman, that made you sad to tell me that. Are the feelings bigger than the block you've got up?
Truman released his blocks just now.
I see. There's that sadness.
Yes, but it's okay now.
The blocks are back.
Yeah, I don't like to feel sad.
Why not?
Nobody likes it when someone else is sad.
Truman, I like it when you can feel free enough to feel your sadness.
I don't feel free anywhere. I kind of don't feel much of anything right now.
Let's go back to Sonia. Do you know why she referred you to Persy?
Yeah, she said something about bonding. I didn't do it right or something. I mean, that's not what she said, but I think I felt she was ashamed of me.
Oh, Truman, that's not the case at all. She felt shame about herself. She felt like she'd let you down. But that's not something a lot of our survivors can see. Sonia didn't know you could see that, or she never would have shown you that.
Why not?
Because you deserve to feel empowered throughout this process.
And worrying about how your advocate is feeling can interfere with that empowerment.
Gotcha.
Truman, do you often get overwhelmed by what others are feeling?
Yeah. That's how it is all the time.
And did you know you were an empath before you came here?
Not really. I knew that I was different. My abuser, knew I could feel what she felt, so I guess I was kind of lucky. I knew she was lying to me before she ever told me.
How long were you with her?
4 years.
That must have been awful to feel so bonded to her all the while knowing she was lying.
It was. Pretty much it was hell.
I bet.
I felt powerless the whole time. I can't remember a moment after the first month or two when she wasn't criticizing me or making fun of me.
And what was it like the first month or two?
She hung on my every word. She told me how strong I was, how much she loved that I took such good care of her. That would come back to bite me.
How so?
I believed her. I believed I was strong. I felt that she believed it too. So I didn't think she was predatory. I thought I knew.
When did you start to see the lies?
The first time she kissed me. She pulled away and didn't look at me. I tried to get her to come back emotionally, but she just started looking at her phone, social media and messages, ignoring me.
How often did she do that?
After the first time? All the time.
You'd kiss and she'd pull away?
We'd do anything physically affectionate and she'd just stop right in the middle and start looking at her phone, bored.
During sex even?
Yeah, especially then.
Truman, that's awful. I can feel how sad you were just now describing that.
I really wish I didn't feel this sad about it. I hate grief. It makes me feel so powerless.
What if grief could help you feel more empowered?
That'd be a stretch.
I can see why you think that way. From all you're feeling right now, you seem pretty overwhelmed. Do you mind sharing what it's all about?
Yeah. But first, Persy, I sort of think you've done with the analyzing thing.
Yeah. I confirm the presence of multiple layers of heightened receptors. I don't want to probe any deeper because there's a secondary block. Seems pretty secure, and I don't feel comfortable going past that security even with your consent. Truman, you know I'm not offended one bit if you need me to leave, right?
No, I didn't know that. And I might need you to.
Pheeny will take good care of you. I'm certain. And I hope you can sense my offer to go is genuinely out of concern for you.
Yeah, I caught that. Thank you.
Before we go on, will you tell me about needing her to leave?
She's right that I wanted a male advocate. I sort of fed her that bit of info. I didn't know I could just ask for one.
It's pretty clever.
Sure. I feel triggered by women.
Why is that?
I'm going to put the block down for real. Is that okay?
Of course. Tell me about this trigger. Oh, there is a lot of emotion here. Who is this mainly about?
My mother.
I suspected because of the depth of your emotion surrounding it.
She hated me.
Oh, Truman, I'm so sorry. Tell me about this bundle of emotions you're feeling.
I just wanted her to be happy, but I could never do anything that actually cheered her.
How many siblings do you have?
2 sisters and a brother.
How did your mom seem to feel about them?
She was fine with them. I was the only one she hated. And I really think it was because of I could read her before I was even old enough to tell her what I was reading. She hated that I could see through her mask.
So you have a secondary abuser as an adult, and your primary abuser?
Was my mother.
Oh, your sadness over this, it's overwhelming.
I was so jealous of my siblings. She loved them so much.
Truman, in our research, we've found that mothers who isolate and despise one of their children are rarely capable of true love for anyone else, even in the case of other siblings. Mothers may behave differently toward different children or even show signs of physical affection, but in the end, it's all an act.
Maybe hers was an act, but there were times she even convinced me that she loved them for real.
That hurt you a lot.
Yeah, it did.
So Then you met your secondary abuser, and
She reminded me of my mom. Only nicer, and she said all the things I wanted someone to say, that I was worthy and strong and capable.
then the devalue phase hit.
And she got bored with me. She seemed to know that's what my mom used to do. My mom used to act all bored if I needed something. She'd have this flat affect when she talked to me. She was just apathetic.
Do you ever remember your secondary abuser asking about your mom?
A lot in the beginning.
Did you tell her about that apathy? How much it hurt?
Yeah, I did. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. She knew how to hit me hardest because I told her right where to hit.
That's natural to do when you're building a life together. It's not your fault. It's abuse. No matter what you did, she deceived you and manipulated you into sharing that information. And you're pretty emotionally intelligent. Your secondary abuser would have been attuned to that.
She was. And now, here we are.
Can I ask you about the discard phase? What happened? I read the trial transcript, but I also read the note from your attorney. You disagreed with your abuser's testimony, but you wouldn't let your attorney object.
Because it made me feel better to let her say that I had left her. It made it sound like I had some measure of power.
What really happened then?
One day, we got in a huge fight. And my girlfriend, abuser, she stopped in the middle of the fight, took out her phone and just stared at it. It just ended me, and I could feel all this disgust from my girlfriend. Abuser. She was emanating all this disgust and rage, and I knew that I was going to be with her forever.
How did you know?
Because it felt familiar. And worse, it felt comfortable. I realized how many times my mom had stared at the TV ignoring me, knowing it broke me. I had to stop that from happening again, so I pulled the phone out of my girl abuser's hands, and I just yelled, "Look at me or leave!" So she left.
What happened after that?
I downed a bottle of Percocet.
That really hurts to talk about.
Those were dark times. Not the feeling low enough to end my life. The times after I woke up, when I realized I'd failed.
Failed how?
Well, I wasn't dead. I couldn't even kill myself to my mother's satisfaction.
Oh, Truman. I am so sorry.
My dad never did anything about how my mom treated me. I guess I grew up pretty starved for any affection.
You know we hand out hugs here, right?
I did know that. But I never felt like I could ask for a hug unless I followed the rules. And I don't think breaking down two advocates really bolsters the follow the rules thing.
There is not a single rule more important than you feeling loved and working toward feeling free. And both of those advocates are facing their own stuff, Truman. Stuff that was here before you got here.
Then, yeah. I think I'd like to get one of those hugs.
Thank you. And there's plenty more where that came from.
I want to say something. But I don't want to sound weird.
I think you'd be surprised how often I hear that exact sentiment. And how often what follows isn't weird at all.
I hadn't thought of that. This is kind of why I wanted a male therapist.
Why's that?
Women trigger me so much that I worry about hugs.
Absolutely. You can always get a safe hug from me. And it might help at some point later in your healing to have the option to get a hug from a safe, respectful woman.
Okay. I wouldn't mind getting hugs from a female advocate. I hug the people I coach all the time when they ask for it. I just worry about transference.
Now that's the beauty of working with empaths. We can block all that off. You'll get all the benefits of working with affectionate, respectful, parental replacements without the drawbacks of transference.
I hadn't thought of that. That's great. So, it's cool if you keep being my advocate?
More than cool. I'd be honored.
But this emotion. I feel so overwhelmed with all that grief and hurt.
Have you heard of radical acceptance?
No?
It's a tool from dialectical behavior therapy. The premise is that you can internally get relief from big emotions by just accepting. Accept that things are difficult or too much or that it's going to hurt. One way to channel that acceptance is by repeating a carefully chosen mantra. Something like, "This is the way it has to be," or "I can't change this and I can survive it."
I could try it. I just worry that what I'm feeling is too much.
Let's try it and see. What's something that's too big to even consider?
My mom hates me.
Wow, Truman, those emotions that knock anybody off center.
Now what? I just radically accept it?
Yes. What's a good mantra for you to try to use while you coach yourself through these feelings?
This is the way it has to be.
Good choice. Another companion mantra to that could be, "I can't change the past."
That's true. I can't.
Is it working?
Yeah, it is. I did not expect that. I don't feel great, but I don't feel like I'm drowning.
One word of caution, this isn't a way to avoid feeling. It's best used to help you sit with the feelings.
Got it.
I'll be around tomorrow. You want to talk more then?
That soon?
I imagine you'll want to maintain some close contact for the next few days to help you deal with the vulnerability of someone else knowing the depth of your emotions. Plus, you just let me bond with you.
Yeah. I like knowing I can trust you enough to bond. More than I thought I would.
Thanks. That's good to hear. You want to get back to those trees? Someone's got to keep that sapling alive.
Oh, he's alive. Barely, but he's still kicking.
Hey, Sonia?
Hi, I'm in here. Hi.
Sonia, I just came from meeting with Truman and Pheeny.
Yeah, crap. I'm in trouble, aren't I?
Not even a little. Truman said you were experiencing some shame during your last
Look,
session.
I know. I'm not supposed to feel stuff during sessions, but Truman was really, really struggling. And I know I should have just come straight to you, but I thought I could fix it. And the more I worked on it, the more frustrating it got. I couldn't, for the life of me, figure out what was going on.
Okay.
He was just blank and totally empty canvas. And I've never met anybody who just feels nothing ever,
Okay,
like in the
but-
history of ever. So I panicked and I tried to make it right. And then it didn't. And that's how I wound up telling you about Truman the other day. But I didn't want to share everything that happened because if I had, you'd be upset. I just knew you'd be really, really upset. And that made me so sad, even more like ashamed. And this whole spiral started where I wasn't a healing warrior. I was just this broken survivor and I was so incompetent. So please don't get rid of me, okay? Just don't get rid of me, please.
Are you all right?
Yes?
Got it all out?
Yes?
You want to say more?
No. I'm cool.
All right, let's take a deep breath. Deep breath then. Out on a straw. All right. First, that was awesome. Way to let it all out. I'm deeply impressed. Second, you need to know that Truman's an undetected empath, and there's no way you could have known that. He was, in fact, hiding things from everyone behind a truly powerful block. He had no idea what a block even was.
I did not see that coming. Really?
Yes. Oh, and in fact, Pheeny's telling me that Truman's mother is his primary abuser, and oh, wow, Truman's still in contact with his mother. They're going to have to do this one abuser at a time.
Hold on, you can read minds across space?
Only Pheeny, and only because of years of practice, and only when he's trying to make sure that his favorite junior advocate is okay.
Oh, Pheeny. So you wouldn't be able to read me if I were 2 lodges away?
Nope, only Pheeny. Truman told me you'd had some emotional reactions to your session.
Okay, I know. I broke the first rule. My emotions took over a session, and I feel really bad about it. And I just want to figure out how to make up this betrayal to him and how to make him feel better. And I just really wish that I could do something to show
Sonia,
him that...
darling, you gotta breathe. I think this is a trigger response to your abuse. I want you to slow down a little bit and tell me what you're feeling.
Ashamed? Regret? Stupid? I knew better.
Good.
Yeah, those are the big ones. Hey, does Pheeny know that I feel this bad?
Even if he didn't, I know he's worried.
Is he gonna come here and get all advocate-y on me?
I'm not sure what advocate-y is.
Well, for Pheeny, it means he's gonna ask me a bunch of questions that force me to confront this. And then he's gonna get mushy about how proud he is. And I just can't handle that. Guilt. That's what all this is. Guilt.
Okay. I just let Pheeny know that he needs to stick with Truman and go handle our senior staff meeting for me so I can stay with you. He sends his calm.
Thanks.
Guilt is really tough after emotional abuse. During training, what did you learn about guilt?
Yeah, Chapter 4. Guilt's part of being an advocate. I'm never gonna be perfect.
Was Pheeny perfect with you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much?
Well, except...
Except what?
Well, he's too mushy.
Right, not perfect for you. You'd probably be better matched with someone who's a little more logical and less effusive with affection.
Maybe. I mean, he was right, though. I do like it. It just takes a minute to get used to it.
That's really good insight.
So the guilt, what do you do with it?
Same thing you do with all other trauma.
Wait, guilt isn't trauma. Guilt's a response.
Guilt can be traumatic when you're in recovery, though. Guilt can be a huge trigger for people who were gaslighted to accept blame. It becomes this gatherer of sorts, collecting all other instances of shame or actual wrongdoing to one source, but twisting it all up.
So maybe I'm not feeling that much guilt over Truman?
I think your feelings are truly valid. It's just that this is your first experience with advocate guilt.
Persy, what was your first?
It was Pheeny.
Ooh, what'd you do to him?
I got angry when he broke no contact with an abusive person in his life. You know him. It just broke his heart.
Persy, you still feel terrible about that.
I do, and it's a good motivator.
Does that just randomly come up sometimes?
Yes.
And when it overwhelms you?
I talk, much like you just did.
Who did you talk to in the beginning when it was just you and Pheeny?
Addie.
Your wife? Is she a good listener?
She's actually a trained advocate.
She is? Why doesn't she work?
She's always wanted to be a mom, and she loves her art.
And you love the Haven?
Yes.
Tough question time. Is it worth it? All this? Worth the guilt and stuff?
Yes.
You said that fast.
Because it is. Sonia, emotions weren't meant to stop us. They're meant to help us. Sadly, trauma teaches us that emotions are obstacles or enemies, but they're friends, tools, helpers. So I'd like you to spend some time rereading what the training materials say about dealing with advocate guilt.
I can do that. Hey, thanks for not getting mushy. I don't feel resolved, but I feel a little better. Like, I can do the research now.
Good. I'm going to head over to the senior staff meeting then. And I want you to let me know if you need to vent again. It's going to happen. And I'm here for you.
You would.
Healing warriors, remember? Hey, it's Persy and Pheeny here. What you've just heard is a work of fiction, but we know that many listeners are living in a world of pain that isn't fictional at all.
At the end of every episode, we're going to include an appendix of sorts. Some things we hope will serve those who live with a reality of fear and pain every day.
First, we want to let you know about our website, www.empowering.tools, where we keep an ongoing list of books, websites, hotlines, and many other resources for victims and survivors of toxic relationships.
Second, we'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to share your story with us or let us know how the episode impacted you, we'd love for you to reach out. These are deeply emotional things, and we want to give you a chance to share. We're a small team, so an in-depth response isn't always possible, but we do read every message we receive.
Third, if you're in crisis or you need to find an immediate way out, we recommend joinonelove.org. Simply text "Love Is" to 22522* to get an immediate response from a peer advocate, or call 800-799-7233 for the National Domestic Abuse Hotline. If your abuser is a parent or a non-romantic relationship, There are other resources we've listed on the website that are just for you.
A reminder, emotional violence is still violence. You don't need to have bruises on your body to deserve help, and it's okay to feel what you're feeling when you call.
Fourth, be safe. For some, getting out will take planning and time. If you know you need help, do what you need in order to safely get away.
Lastly, we know how difficult it can be to believe there's hope on the other side of a toxic relationship.
Many on our team know the devastatingly difficult steps it takes to get away from an abusive predator.
But there is hope. You don't have to do it alone. If you don't have supportive family or friends, you can still find support at the hotlines we mentioned earlier or at a local hospital or shelter.
Thousands of survivors have made it out. Getting out and reclaiming your freedom can be your story.
We believe in you.
We believe in your future.
And we believe in your right to that freedom.